Thank you, Madam President. This week I joined my colleagues to introduce an immigration reform legislation that ends to seek de facto amnesty by achieving both the strongest border security and enforcement measures in U.S. history, but also by modernizing our legal immigration system so that it can unleash the strong economic growth and job creation potential that immigration has. Let me begin by just stating the obvious, and that is America is a nation of immigrants. We know that because every single one of us can track our lineage back to someone who came here from somewhere else. The truth is, it's one of the things that makes us different and special than the rest of the world. If we think about the history of the world is people basically being told that you can only do what your parents did for a living. How far you're going to go in life depends upon what your parents used to do and who you are and who you're connected to. But what made America truly unique, what made the idea of America revolutionary, was the idea that every single human being, no matter where you were born, how you were born, and to what kind of family you were born, and to what circumstances you were born, that every single human being had the God-given right to go as far as their talent and their hard work will take them. Now, we may take that for granted, those of us like me who were born and raised here our entire life, but this is the exception rather than the rule throughout human history. And it is one of the things that has made America so special, because the belief and commitment to that ideal unleashed here the revolutionary power of the human spirit and transformed this country into the single most powerful and greatest and freest nation in all of human history. This is the story of immigration in America. And it is why we as Americans understand that legal immigration is critically important for our future and a critical part of our heritage. The problem is that for too long, both Republicans and Democrats have failed to enforce our immigration laws. And the result is that today we have millions of people living in the United States in violation of our immigration laws. The other problem is that our legal immigration system is broken. It is just broken. It doesn't reflect the 21st century. It doesn't take into account special skills and talents. It doesn't allow us to attract the world's best and brightest. In fact, it doesn't allow us to keep the world's best and brightest, many of whom are students in our universities, who learn from our best schools that our taxpayers are paying for, and when they're done learning, we ask them to leave, to take what they've learned here and use it somewhere else to compete against us. It makes absolutely no sense. So let me just start out by saying that if there wasn't a single illegal immigrant in the United States, we would still have to do immigration reform because the immigration system is broken. And I am pleased that this bill that we have offered as a starting point reforms our legal immigration system in a very serious and profound way. It turns it into a merit-based system that takes into account skills, talents, and job opportunities. It creates a system where agriculture can get the workers into this country legally. By the way, the workers that feed not just our families, but the world. It allows our business community in times of labor shortages, where there's very low unemployment, to be able to provide for themselves the kind of guest and seasonal labor that some industries depend on, but to do so in a legal way. These reforms are significant. By the way, in the high-tech industry, where we're not graduating nearly enough people in the high-tech fields, science, technology, engineering, and math, shame on us as a country that more of our children are not graduating with the skills they need to do those jobs, and we have to change that. But in the meantime, there are thousands of jobs that are going overseas because we can't fill them here. In essence, these companies in the high-tech industry, they're creating these jobs, but then they're taking them somewhere else because that's where the workers are. It's pretty simple. They go to a university, they interview the students, they find someone they really like, and if they can't hire them in the United States, they'll hire the same person in some other country. And that's terrible for America. So the first thing this bill, even if there wasn't a single illegal immigrant in the United States, the second thing the bill does is it actually enforces them. Now, you may not know this, but 40% of the people illegally in the United States didn't come illegally. They came on a visa, on a permit. And then the permit expired and they stayed. 40%. We have no idea who they are because we don't track people when they leave. We only track when they come in. This bill will change that. The second thing is we all understand the magnet for illegal immigration. It is jobs. It's pretty simple. You have a supply of people willing to work. You have a supply of jobs on this side of the border that we can't fill domestically. And those two are meeting. They're just not meeting legally. And what an E-Verify system, which this bill mandates will do, is it will require every employer in America to comply with E-Verify, to basically check the documents their workers are providing against a national database that provides employment eligibility information. The third thing it does on enforcement is the border region. Now, let me begin by saying this about the border. The border is not just about immigration. It's about national security. It's a national security risk. The border must be secured. And what this bill does is it requires the Department of Homeland Security to come up with not one, but two plans, a border plan and a fencing plan, to achieve 100% ability to be aware of the entire border and 90% apprehension, that we apprehend 9 out of 10 people that are illegally crossing it. And we give the Department of Homeland Security 5 years to reach that goal. And if they do not reach that goal in 5 years, then the issue is turned over to a commission made up of state officials, local officials on the border to take care of the job themselves, and they will. If the federal government refuses to secure the border, the states of New Mexico and Texas and Arizona and California, through their governors and their leaders, they will finish the job. The third thing this bill does is it deals with the millions of people who are in this country in violation of our immigration laws. Now, let me begin by saying this. No one has a right to illegally immigrate to the United States. You just don't. There is no legal right to be here illegally. And as a sovereign country, we have a right to enforce our immigration laws. If we do something to accommodate those that are here illegally, we don't do it because we legally have to. We do it for two reasons. First, because it's in the best interest of our country. When we debate this immigration issue, we need to understand that when we talk about millions of illegal immigrants, this is not a theory. This is a reality. They are here now. We're not talking about bringing these people in. They are here already, and they will be here for the rest of their lives. So we have to deal with that reality. It's in our national interest to deal with that reality. And the second reason why we're dealing with it is because that's who we are. We are a compassionate people. We're not going to deport 11 million people. And so we have to deal with this. And we believe that we handle this in a very professional and effective way. If you are in this country illegally and you entered here before December of 2011, you have to present yourself. You will undergo a background check. If you have committed serious crimes in the U.S., you will be deported. If you have not, you will have to pay an application fee, a fine, you will have to start paying taxes, and you will receive a permit that will allow you to work in the United States and pay your taxes. You won't qualify for any federal benefits, no welfare, no Obamacare, no food stamps, but you will have a chance to work, and you will no longer have to hide. You're going to have to remain in that system for 6 years, and then you have to go back and get your permit renewed. It's not a temporary grant. It's not a permanent grant of a temporary status. It's a temporary grant of a temporary status. In 6 years, you have to go back and apply again for this permit. And when you reapply, not only do you have to pay another fine and another application fee, but you're going to have to prove that you've been paying taxes the last 6 years and that you're gainfully employed in a way that means you're not going to wind up on public assistance. Assuming your permit is renewed, after 10 years has gone by, if the border plans have been completed, if E-Verify is in place, if the entry-exit system is in place, then the only thing that happens is you are given a chance to apply for a green card, just like everybody else does. Not a special process. You're at the back of the line. Everyone who applied before you legally goes first. But the only thing that happens after 10 years go by and the border is secured, E-Verify is in place, and the entry-exit system's in place, we don't give you anything. All you have now is the opportunity to apply for a green card. And by the way, during the first 5 years under a green card, under existing law, you don't qualify for federal benefits either. The point is, this is a reasonable way to deal with a real problem that faces our country. The alternative is to do nothing, which leads me to one of the points that people are using. We'll be talking a lot about this issue. One of the arguments against this is how much money it's going to cost. First of all, over the first 10 or 15 years, all these things about the fence and all these things that we're doing, it's paid for in the bill. But beyond that, as far as the economy of the United States, a couple points. First of all, you can't compare this bill to nothing. You have to compare it to what we have now. And what we have now is worse. What we have now is costing our economy. You have people in this country illegally, they get sick, they go to the emergency room, and the taxpayer pays for it. We have people in this country that are having children who are U.S. citizens, and they go to our schools. They're driving in our streets without a driver's license, which means they have no car insurance, which means all of us have to pay more in car insurance as a result. This is not good for us. It's obviously not good for them, but it's not good for us. What we have today is devastating and horrible for our economy. We can't continue to have this. We have to fix this problem. And we have to fix it in a way that is fair to the people that have done it the right way, and fix it in a way that makes sure that this never, ever happens again. And I believe that the bill we're working on does that. And I look forward to the input that my colleagues have. One more criticism I hear, it's being rushed through. That's just not true. Just yesterday, we voted on a series of amendments that I had less than 12 hours to review. And these amendments dealt with a fundamental right, the Second Amendment constitutional right. This bill's been online already for 48 hours. The Committee on Judiciary won't even begin to consider amendments to this bill until next month. People are going to have 3 to 4 weeks to review it. It's posted on my website. People can go on there now and see it. And beyond that, it'll be available all these weeks. Then it's going to go through an extensive committee process, and then it'll be brought here, hopefully, to the floor where we can debate it openly as well. Look, I'm not claiming the bill is perfect. I'm sure it can be improved, and I hope my 92 other colleagues will work hard to improve it, because we have an opportunity to do something important. My last point I address to many of my fellow Americans who share my deep commitment to upholding the Constitution of the United States, to limiting the size and scope of government, to encouraging the free enterprise system as the best way to create economic opportunity. America is a nation of immigrants, but both Republicans and Democrats have failed to enforce our immigration laws, and as a result, we have millions of people here illegally. We're not going to deport them. So let's secure the border, and let's identify these people. Let's undergo a background check, get in the back of the line, pay a fine, pay taxes, no federal benefits. We all wish we didn't have this problem, but leaving it the way it is, it's amnesty. We have to solve this problem, and I hope we will.